Welcome, everybody. This is John Paul Mendocha, Dr. Speed Selling, and this is the Raging Verbalist number 64. Wow, who thought we'd get to 64? Raging Verbalist, if this is your first time, yay. If this is a return visit, even better. I guess I'll get this out of the way because I'll be another annoying YouTube person. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe, hit the like, give me the thumbs up, do all those things, subscribe. Do all of that stuff, please. And if you want to leave a comment, you can. Also, you can go to the Facebook page, which is Position to Win Book, and check it out there. Now, having done all that kind of long introduction, let me introduce the ever lovely, though in an embittered, cold environment, Sandra. So welcome, Sandra.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm glad that you're here. Now, for those of you wondering what our topic is today, well, Raging Verbalist, I kind of steer away from politics. We talk about everything else that's really business kind of oriented. And today we're going to be talking about, of all things, what's coming up, Valentine's Day. Now, for those of you who don't understand the format, Sandra will stand in your shoes, that's figuratively, and we'll ask questions and we'll go back and forth. So, Sandra, what is the first question for today?
All right. Is Valentine's Day a real holiday or not?
Well, it's kind of interesting because Valentine's Day in the United States, at least, and most places around the world, is on February 14th. And as we're recording this, so you've got still a couple of days to go buy something. And, this is where like candy and flowers and gifts, and you give it to your loved ones. And ostensibly, it's all about St. Valentine. And through our crack research team, I can give you some facts about it, which is, well, there were actually more than one person who was St. Valentine. In fact, the Catholic Church recognizes three different saints, not one, not two, but three, who were Valentine or Valentinitis. I think that's when you have, Valentine ringing in your ear or something. But all of them were martyred, which means that, it didn't turn out so well for them. For those of you out there who are under a lot of stress because you're always getting the wrong damn gift, the wrong thing, you know what I'm talking about. So now there are other stories that, that suggest that Valentine had been killed for attempting to help, of all things, Christians escape from Roman prisons, where they were often beaten and tortured. Usually that's an upcharge for some of the places that, well, I mean, we don't need to go into that. But anyway, according to one legend, that they imprisoned Valentine and he sent the first Valentine greeting after he fell in love with this young girl, potentially the jailer's daughter, who visited him during confinement. Conjugal visit, I don't know. Probably that didn't make it in there. But anyway, but by the Middle Ages, perhaps thanks to the reputation, Valentine would become one of the most popular saints in France and England. So there you go. So that's where we think this thing started from. I have taken many liberties with this information. So if you are living along with, if you're saying John is giving me the definitive, accurate thing, tongue firmly planted in cheek, I believe that Valentine was probably, somebody who worked at like Hallmark Cards or something, or a candy maker, and said, "Hey, I got an idea. Let's do this." So that's where I think Valentine's Day came from. And by the way, whether you believe in it or not, it is a big holiday, especially if you're involved in a committed relationship. I don't care how it slices out. Forget Valentine's Day. All I can say is, well, you're on your own. You have been warned, and we've put that in there. So, in respect to Valentine's Day and the fact that, of course, Sandra is appropriately has coloration with her pink, as she pointed out, pink earrings. I thought, of course, is that I need to put on my red sunglasses for the rest of this. So we are now looking at Valentine's Day through rose-colored glasses because, of course, if I had a sponsor, it would be some flower or something where you can get lots of really cool flowers, but I don't have that. So the best thing I can tell you is go to positiontowinbook.com, positiontowinbook.com. By the way, go in there, and if you say anything with Valentine, who knows, you might get a deal. Okay. So Sandra, now that you look a lot different through these glasses, tell me, what is the next question that we have?
How is Valentine's Day different with COVID-19?
So here's the interesting thing. Last year, Valentine's Day, I think, was probably pretty normal because we didn't have this, big giant weight that smacked us all around. But now COVID-19 is seriously there, and we have all these things going on. I can tell you that I'm going to bet money that we're going to have a lot fewer people actually exchanging Valentines. I can say that that it's going to be different. So if you're looking for things that you can do, just remember that it needs to be something that you can give to somebody that they feel like you're doing something special. And I think it's going to be different. Also, maybe Zoom your lover, your loved ones and those people you want to do that with. Make sure that you are doing appropriate things on these things. I've heard stories, who you are out there. But I think it's going to be different, and it's going to be odder, and it's going to be also, Valentine's Day is one of those things where I've met people who kind of get sad, like if they don't have like a relationship they're in, and they're like, boo hoo. But you can reach out and say to somebody, hey, I care about you. And you can even use the L word, and in this case, it isn't for loser, it's for love. So I think it's going to be different. That's what I think it's going to be. And the thing is that you should figure out how to connect with somebody. Also, hey, if you haven't talked to somebody in a long time, great time to do it. But I'm going to tell you this. Don't spend 80, 90% of the conversation talking about, oh, doesn't COVID suck? Doesn't COVID suck? Doesn't COVID suck? We're going to be, I think I just need to just say we spend far too much time talking about something that we can't change dramatically. So let's focus on what we can do and reach out and say to somebody, hey, happy Valentine's Day. Sandra, what is the next all important question?
What kinds of things can you do to send love to people that you care about?
Well, I'm going to share what I think is really important, and we don't have enough of this because we have turned into an entire seemingly uh, digital cyber bunch of bitching and moaning and complaining about everything. And there is no molehill too small that cannot be turned into something mammoth because of the internet. And I'm gonna give you a way to become happier right now and make somebody else happier. So if you have somebody that affected your life in a positive way, or that you can affect their life in a positive way, what you can do is you can actually give them a word of encouragement, give them a word of thanks, give them a word of gratitude. Now, in my case, I've been doing this for many years to a single person that when he said yes and hired me into my signature job, he literally changed my course and direction in my career, but also in my life. So every year on Halloween, because that's when he said yes and gave me the thumbs up and they hired me, is I call him up. And, it's now, I think we're now 36 years and counting. And all I can tell you is, or maybe 35, whatever it is, it's a lot of years, 35 and counting. But all I can tell you is that if you do that, that you will surprise a lot of people. Now it's one of those things. We don't spend a lot of time on the phone, but it's one of those things of sending gratitude to people, and it will make you, I believe, feel better, make you a better person, and make the world a little bit better. So one of the things that you can do is you can send gratitude to people, and it doesn't cost that much. I mean, I know that people would love a new car or some kind of really expensive jewelry or something, but I'm going to tell you that doing something nice, like reaching out to somebody and just saying, "Hey, I care about you. I want you to know that I'm here for you," and send that love to the world. I think that's a big plus. So, Sandra, what do you think? How would you do that? Because I know that you have a extended family. So I mean, how would you do this? What would you do?
I'm really into like handwritten notes or letters. I like to draw, so draw a little picture, something like that you can send out to all types of people. And like you said, it doesn't cost much, but I don't get hardly any letters anymore. I used to get them from my grandparents who are gone now. So, and that meant a lot to me. So why don't I just pass that tradition on? Everyone just texts anymore. So,
See, I like that. I think that Sandra, thank you. I think that's a really cool thing. And if you have a mind to sending something out to people, you want to shock people, especially in the business world. You want to shock people. Send them something like a handwritten note without any expectation of getting money back or something back. You will be a very elite group of people who actually did something, and that works very well. And in fact, we should probably do an entire thing about the power of thank yous and what they've meant to my life business wise, but also meant to my personal life. So excellent suggestion, Sandra. And all I can say to all of you out there is that the last time I was in a FedEx office, I guess FedEx office retail location, is that they were closing out the thank you cards at 80% off because the guy said nobody buys them anymore. Sad, but you ought to go buy a big giant stack. Doesn't take much to write something in quick. Get this thing called a stamp, bang, stamp, send it, done. And what you'll discover is that you will probably see more results from that than just about anything else because guess what? You know, you're not in the mix of the clutter of all that. So excellent suggestion, Sandra. So reach out with somebody in a very personable way. All right. What is the next question?
what are the best presents for Valentine's Day?
So I'd have to say that it depends on the relationship you have with somebody. And it should be something that really means something to somebody. I know that there are lots of you out there who are, you know, you're sitting there in line at the 7-Eleven and they've got the Valentine's Day scratchers. Probably not the best idea, or buying, you know, a Colt 45 in a brown paper bag, or a pack of smokes. So I think some of the best presents that you can do. I like the idea of Sandra saying you make something. That's kind of cool. I also like the idea of where you go find something that the person wouldn't normally get and send it to them. I even think, though it's kind of being overdone, but sending somebody a gift card. In fact, you could do that without leaving your butt from the computer. You can go, or your phone. You can send somebody that. But if it's somebody who's really close to you, think of something that they would really be surprised to get and give them something. And whether that's something expensive or not expensive, jewelry is always cool. That's always cool. By the way, years ago, I had I was in the car finance business, and I ended up with this vehicle. And again, it wasn't brand new by any stretch of the imagination, but I spent some money to get it in much better shape. I wouldn't say tip top, but it was better shape. And literally drove that. And my best friend flew to California. We drove back to Colorado, and I gave my father a car. And even though it wasn't, like I said, the best that I gave him a car. And he of course drove it until he drove it into the ground, but it's his car after that point in time. But it was so cool because I was able to give him a car. So if you can think about what you might be able to give somebody that is just above and beyond, something that you can just say, "Wow, I did it." Not a bad idea to go forward and do that. Also, taking care of people who may not be able to get to that, get somewhere and hand them something, or maybe do the send them a meal or something. All those I think are great presents. And what you're really trying to do is you're trying to create a memory that is going to last you for the rest of your life and the rest of their lives. Probably the saddest one I ever did, but it was actually a happy occasion, is my wife and I were married at Laguna Beach. And we often go down to Laguna Beach and we'll go visit where we were married because we're married at the gazebo overlooking Laguna. And at the time, my then business partner, my mentor, Big Joe, was having some definite struggles health-wise. I mean, and later he would succumb to those. And so we were there, and we called him up on the phone because he lived, he and his wife lived relatively close to Laguna, and we said, hey, we would like to take you out to dinner. And he was like, well, I really don't feel like it. I mean, he was physical issues create mental distress. So what we did is we bought an entire meal. It's before you could buy them and have the box shipped to you, but we bought this stuff and we went over to their house and we served them dinner. And frankly, it was one of the last dinners I ever really had with him, and it was a fantastic experience. Didn't cost much. I know in COVID maybe you can't do that, but think about how you could do something like that, which would be fantastic. In fact, he talked about how that day brightened what was a dark period in his life, which that's the whole point of it. And the whole point of giving a gift isn't that you're giving something that's expected, but giving something that is unexpected and steps in the other way. Now, I shamelessly believe that probably one of the best things that you can give somebody, one of the best things you can give somebody is some insight and some knowledge and some other things. And there's no better thing that I can think of than, of course, going out and giving them a book. Now, if you look at it, I like the color red on my book covers. So if you look at the, most businesses fail in the first 5 minutes. It just takes them 3 to 5 years to realize it. Position to win. That has a lot of red in Valentine's Day, so maybe they don't bleed out or lose their shirt. The other one, and that's by available, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, a lot of places. You can also go to positiontowinbook.com. You can ask for me to sign it. It's a little late because they're not going to get it by Valentine's Day. But there you go. That is an example of something you give somebody. Also, on the other side is remote work for a better world. And if you're doing this whole thing about, how do I connect with people remotely? And that's only 99 cents. Hey, if they're not worth 99 cents, geez, I don't know. But anyway, so that's another place, but go check that out. And if you do that, I think you'll get a lot out of it. All right. So having said that, Sandra, what is the next? Oh, actually, I didn't ask you a question. So what would be a cool? Actually, no. You asked me the next question.
All right. Why do guys know a lot about Valentine's Day when they're single?
Well, I think that guys know a lot more about Valentine's Day. Now, I've been married for quite some time, but what I discovered is that guys, for whatever reason, and now you may be out there saying, John, you're being sexist, you're being this, but I can tell you that single guys who are, of course, trying to woo, and maybe that's a phrase that's now out of favor, but trying to court the fancy of the other side they seem to actually have a much hyper sense of this. And then as soon as they get married, they couldn't remember what February 14th means if it saved their ass. And I have observed this over and over again. And it is astonishing how they never figure out that, what, maybe you should just keep making this a tradition. But it's one of those things where, you know, the thing you got to know is that guys are very kind of like single track minded, and of course what they're doing is they're saying, wait a second, I think if I and by the way, this is an excuse to buy certain things that maybe you wouldn't buy otherwise, right? And one of my favorite things to do is to watch these very macho guys trying to buy something that they go in and they're looking very nervous and very scared because they would oh my god, I might be buying something. So all I can say is guys know how to do this. Now, Sandra, I presume that you have observed this condition. I don't believe that there's any research being done to study this, but I think it is in fact endemic. So have you observed this yourself when you were single? Now, for those of you out there, she is happily married, but did you notice this yourself in your own single life?
Yeah, I'd say so. Definitely the better gifts come early, maybe.
So your mom was right. Okay. So there you go. All right. So what is our next question?
All right. What are you doing for this Valentine's Day?
Well, what I'm going to do is since we are in COVID land or COVID kind of, and I live in the state of confusion, is that what I'm going to do is plan to cook a very nice meal for my wife, and and maybe not even stick her with the cleanup, but I mean, do something really nice like that. And so now I've got to decide what I should cook. I do like to cook, by the way. In fact, uh, kind of an interesting story is the first time that we actually went on a date because I had limited funds. I said to her, "Why don't you come over to my place and I will cook you a meal?" And of course, she was taken aback by this because most guys, they know how to like maybe reheat something. And I made her my lasagna. Now, for those of you who have never made real lasagna, I know how to make real lasagna. Every pan that you own will be dirty by the time you are through with this process. I guarantee you. Everything will be dirty, nasty, and it's going to take a lot. So I literally went through and made her lasagna, which she said, that was just so impressive. And it was, and of course she kept wondering, who is this guy? Which of course, man of mystery that I was, but I was a person who could make lasagna. So I'm thinking about making her a wonderful meal, of course, giving her something that I wrote or I'm going to write and all that. And no, I'm not going to give her a copy of the book because she was the editor on the book. But no, I'm going to give her something like that. So, Sandra, in your case, so what are you hoping for your aspirations for Valentine's Day?
Uh, it sounds bad, but I'm just really laid back. But I guess I don't really have high hopes because I don't, whatever we do will be fine. So, but we'll probably end up doing some type of like movie, board game, that type of thing. And then we have errands to run on Monday, so maybe we'll go get lunch. But one board game that's kind of fun, I have to shout out, is Pandemic. And it's it's a co-op style game, and you have to like find the cure and all of that stuff. And funny enough, when all this craziness started, we did play it, and it started in Asia. It's like, wait a second, and it kind of followed the same track as what we were going through. I was like, this is weird. So maybe we had like a Jumanji moment. Maybe it's my fault. I don't know.
There you have it. We're
Sorry.
revealing, yeah, we're revealing things. So, but I would be remiss if we ended today without me asking a question. So, what was the coolest Valentine's Day gift that you got? I mean, that you remember. Doesn't have to be the most expensive, but what was that? What was that? Whatever that was, what was that? Put you on the spot.
Um, there's a necklace I got that I can't remember if it was Valentine's or Christmas because it was so long ago. But the one thing that keeps sticking out of my mind is actually a card with a handwritten, like, kind of poem in it, kind of a nice little verse that was written for me. So
There you go. See,
I love it.
that's nice. That's nice. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I think the nice I gave because we didn't have a lot of money. Becky never had an engagement ring, so and when I was in Amsterdam, I bought her a ring, which I brought back. Now again, we didn't wait around for the day, but that would be probably the coolest one because she was rather surprised. First off, I ended up getting pretty close to the right size, and I got the right color because, by the way, guys are clueless about this stuff. I mean, they don't understand. Some people wear gold, some people wear silver, some people do this. I mean, guy would. I've always joked that if guys were left to their own devices, they'd have a rope for a belt because it just happened to be laying there. It's just like. So I think that was the coolest thing I ever did was do that. So I think that was pretty. I thought it was enjoyed and cool. So all right. Any last thoughts about Valentine's Day before we wrap it up? What is your Valentine's message to our audience?
I would say thanks for being there, and we appreciate you.
I think those
And
are
spread
great
the
words.
love. How is that? Spread the love. There you go. There's too much hate in the world right now, so There you go.
Great sentiment. And all I can say is, yes, don't take yourself so seriously. Maybe put on a pair of rose-colored glasses, laugh a little bit more, and most importantly, remember those that you really care about, because life turns out to be a hell of a lot shorter than you might think it's going to be. And what you're going to find out is that in the end, most of this stuff doesn't really matter that you get all upset about and crazy about. So, with that, I just want to thank you all who have been with us on the Raging Verbalist number 64, our Valentine's Day special. If you have questions, make sure that you go to the Facebook page, Position to Win Book, put those down there, make some comments. Sandra will get those, and we'll feed them back, and we'll make a future episode. Also, tell us some stuff that you'd like us to, like me to talk about. We'll go through it and all that. And with that, have an absolutely great Valentine's Day, all of you. Make sure that you do one thing. And if you do one thing, it is this: make sure that you find 1, 2, 3, how about 6 people to reach out and say, you know what? I'm really glad that you're in my life and that I care. Because if you do that, and we all do that, we will send a ripple through this crazy world and these crazy times and focus more on the good than on the negative. And in fact, as Sandra so eloquently said, is spread the love.